Hi, Mom. What are you doing today?
Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence, an ideal rental setting for retirees to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We have bright 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, and wellness and entertainment programs. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
Mom, call me when you're not so busy.
Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
The annual Rice Bowl collection was held last March in the Diocese of Springfield, but it is making a difference right now in Western Massachusetts. I'm Rebecca Drake, and I'll have the story.
I'm Nick Morganelli. I'll take you to the Lee Community Garden at St. Mary's Church and show you the unique vegetables and the improvements they've made since last summer.
And we continue our series on Catholic Communications' late summer pilgrimage to Belgium and Germany this week, visiting Cologne and Heidelberg. These stories are coming your way next on Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel to Reel. As Americans prepare for Thanksgiving, for far too many, food insecurity is a very real problem. While the Catholic Relief Service's Lenten Rice Bowl collection helps to address hunger throughout the world, 25% of the donations received stay in local dioceses. Rebecca Drake looks now at 2 food programs in Western Massachusetts that received Rice Bowl grants this year and are helping to fight hunger in our area.
For Tom Convery, coordinator of the Common Goods Food Pantry in Westfield, helping people in need is something he learned as a youngster.
My parents and family have always been that we should be taking care of each other. And I always remember my uncle, anytime somebody would come in during lunchtime, he'd yell to his wife in the kitchen, "Nan, throw more water in the soup." Another guest.
The U.S. Air Force veteran, who works in the Alumni Relations Department at Westfield State University, also is motivated by his military service.
And as a veteran, we don't want to leave anybody behind. And we have a lot of students that can use a little help, so I enjoy doing it.
The recipient of a $1,000 grant from the diocese's annual Lenten Rice Bowl collection, the food pantry can be a life-changing factor in students' academic work, says university staff member Marjorie Rodriguez.
I think it's been crucial for our students. Our students have shared how much of an impact the food pantry have done in their lives. I always feel like we were oftentimes like one can away from changing our students' outcomes. And now with the support of this grant, like we're able not only to provide non-perishable food, but also like fresh fruits.
Father Warren Savage is the director and Catholic chaplain at the Albert and Amelia First Interfaith Center at Westfield State University. He says the Common Goods Food Pantry is a response to the mandate to care for those in need practiced by all faith traditions.
Whether you're Jewish or Muslim, Christian, it's a common practice to take care of those in need and to exercise the corporal works of mercy. So the Interfaith Chaplains Council, which oversees this Common Goods Food Pantry, took the initiative with students such as Marjorie and others to open up this beautiful resource for the community.
The desire to serve those in need in their community also inspired members of St. Anne Parish in Chicopee to participate in Take and Eat, a weekend diocesan ministry that brings hot meals to homebound individuals. The parish program also received a $1,000 grant from the Rice Bowl collection.
I'd like to be able to help the homebound. We have about 40 homebound people, and our parish is, was fondly called an over 50 crowd. I think it's a little bit more than that, but mostly elderly people, and they're good people, and they've always helped out in the church, and I want to see us get more actively involved in the mission of the church.
While elderly and homebound residents will benefit from the new Take and Eat program, even the youngest parishioners have a role to play in the ministry of feeding the hungry.
And all of my kids, they love coming in because they'll bring in their little rice bowl and they'll say that they've saved up, their ice cream money all through Lent. And then they give it, and the rice bowls are heavy from their coins, but they're so proud that they've been able to help them.
And as St. Anne Parish prepares to launch its Take and Eat program this fall, Father Scavera says many volunteers have already stepped forward to help.
I'm amazed at the number of volunteers that we get. When we get something going, they pop out of the woodwork here. Just very grateful and thankful for that.
Parish organizers also are grateful for all who donated to the Rice Bowl program.
The $1,000 that we received from the rice bowls is going to help us tremendously with even purchasing the food. I mean, that's the biggest expense with Take and Eat is purchasing the food, purchasing the containers, and getting us established. Think of your grocery bill. $1,000 is going to go a long way.
Campus coordinators of the Common Goods Food Pantry also have a message for donors and administrators of Catholic Relief Services Rice Bowl program.
My message is always thank you, number one, in that you have done what our beautiful Creator asked us to do, and that is to practice faithful stewardship.
From the word of the gospel and the prayers of the faithful, and through the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Christ, the rice bowls are filled and the hungry are fed in Western Massachusetts. For Real to Real, I'm Rebecca Drake.
Local donations to the Rice Bowl collection truly make a difference for people of all ages each and every year, from the homebound to the homeless, making sure folks have food for Thanksgiving and all year long. For more about the Rice Bowl program, log on to iobserve.org. Continuing now with our focus on feeding the hungry, bare shelves, an empty fridge, and stomachs that groan in hunger. This describes millions of poor and food insecure people around the world, including right here in Western Massachusetts. Answering the need in Chicopee was a widow, mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, and great-great-grandmother who started with peanut butter sandwiches and with the help of the community creating Lorraine's Soup Kitchen and Food Pantry. Nearly 4 years after the death of Lorraine Houle, the numbers of those in need continue to grow and even double. Today, there's a new executive director at the helm, and the effort to keep up with demand and rising food costs is her responsibility. Kathy Harrington introduces us now to Kim Case, a woman primed to meet the challenge.
It's mid-morning at Lorraine's Soup Kitchen and Food Pantry, and dinner preparations are underway. The kitchen crew is from St. Anne's Parish in Chicopee, and on the menu tonight, Salisbury steak, mushrooms, mashed potatoes, and green beans, a meal that tugs on your senses and reminds you of home.
We come every Tuesday. We started coming maybe twice a month, and then we just moved to every Tuesday because we enjoy it. We feel good when we leave here.
An army of volunteers has made it their responsibility to help neighbors through challenging times. They're following in the footsteps of Lorraine Houle, who was inspired to create a soup kitchen in 1989. Expanding to meet the growing needs of the food insecure, it takes teamwork and solid leadership. Feeding those in need in Chicopee for 33 years, and now there's a new captain at the helm.
I started volunteering at Lorraine's about 15 years ago.
With time in the kitchen, the dining room, and fundraising, when the position opened, Kim Case was ready for a new role, facing the ever-growing demands for the Soup Kitchen and Food Pantry services.
Everything's gone up, gas, food, everything has gone up. So we've definitely seen an increase in our meals that go out. We've had a lot of new people come in. We've had almost 100% increase in people coming in for meals.
Lorraine's Soup Kitchen and Food Pantry is located on a bus route, but to reach even more clients, the food pantry is now mobile, hitting the streets Monday through Thursday in the evening.
We go out to 16 different areas in the city, and so every night we would go to a different area.
Strategically targeting areas where demographics show the greatest need and where access to food stores may be challenging, the truck sets up a pop-up pantry.
We just did one down at the River Mills Elderly Senior Center. We did one there a couple weeks ago, and we signed up 20
31 people signed up, and they were thrilled to have us there. They actually wanted us to come weekly.
Weekly isn't possible, but they will be back monthly. Food distribution by truck has shown the need is great.
You know, the food donations, monetary, because then we can go through the food bank and get things much cheaper than we would, you know, if we had to go to a store and purchase it.
Donations, yeah, we get donations for it too, yeah.
Food or monetary?
Usually monetary.
And we're happy to help out because some people have no facilities for cooking that are homeless and different things. So this is a fair meal for them, you know? Right. It's a great opportunity to help out.
When Preston isn't washing dishes, he does some of the heavy lifting.
I help people out to the cars and unload the stuff into the cars, the ones that can't lift it, so I help them out.
We have gotten in a lot of new volunteers, which has been great.
But the need for more helping hands is even greater, and volunteering can be simple.
I was just looking for something to do, and the church had a little advertisement in the bulletin, said if you were interested in helping to make sandwiches, give a call.
For Kim Case, volunteering can lead to something even more rewarding, the opportunity to follow in Lorraine's footsteps. For Reel to Reel, I'm Kathy Harrington.
For more information on Lorraine's, we have a link at iobserve.org. And it's not too late to support the 2022 Annual Catholic Appeal, which provides funding to agencies like Lorraine's Soup Kitchen. Make your donation now at diospringfield.org. And still to come on Reel to Reel, Nick Morganelli visits a Lee Parish's community garden for its bountiful harvest. And the second in the series of reports from our Catholic Communications pilgrimage to Belgium and Germany. These stories and more are still to come on Reel to Reel.
Like Catholic TV on Facebook. Once you're there, you can join in on discussions, make friends with other Catholic TV fans, watch behind-the-scenes videos from the studio,
just finished this today.
And stay up to date with the Catholic world. All this at facebook.com/CatholicTV.
I'm Dan Dumas with your Reel to Reel news briefs. Some great news out of St. Agnes Academy in Dalton. The school received high marks on its national accreditation process and was recently honored as the best school for private education in Berkshire County. Carolee McGrath reports.
Father Chris Malatesta, the pastor of St. Agnes Parish in Dalton, visits the school next door, where students are learning how to create their own video games. The curriculum, which is preparing students to keep up with changing technology, is one of the many features attracting families in the Berkshires. The school recently received a prestigious award, the Berkshire Eagles Best of the Berkshires Best Private School. Fadia Makdisi is the principal.
We're very proud and we're very happy. We appreciate all the votes that we received, and it just makes us commit stronger to our mission and to each other.
St. Agnes Academy is a pre-K through grade 8 Catholic school. They recently went through the accreditation process and received a top rating by the New England Association of Schools and Colleges.
We have really wonderful news. We just passed our accreditation through NIASC. They had an exit interview and they rated us in 4 standards out of 5 higher than what we rated ourselves, which is obviously a great deal. They were very impressed by the school, the staff, the students, the families, our whole community, our parish, our relationship with the church.
I mean, Catholic schools are so important, right? So we're able to talk about God every day. You know, we're so excited here that, I mean, just like an environment that's caring, loving, that's, you know, God-focused and centered. It's so important to be able to, you know, support all that we did. I've never been a product of Catholic schools myself before seminary, but I support them 110% since the day I've been ordained. They're important to our communities, they're important to our parishes.
The school also emphasizes service, encouraging students to be the hands and feet of Christ. During Respect Life Month in October, students held a diaper drive to benefit the Pregnancy Support Center. In Dalton, I'm Carolee McGrath.
Congratulations to the staff and students at St. Agnes Academy. And in other news, St. Anne Parish in Chicopee was host to the world-famous International Pilgrim Virgin statue of Our Lady of Fatima last weekend. Sharon Rulier reports.
Since 1947, the Pilgrim statue of Fatima has been traveling the globe. It's been to 100 countries and all 50 states, with the intention of continuing to promote the message from the most significant apparitions of the Virgin Mary as she appeared to 3 shepherd children in Fatima, Portugal in 1917.
What she had to say impacted the whole world. She warned of what would develop if people do not start living their lives better, and that we could have a positive impact on bringing people back to faith by prayer and living out our faith through the sacraments.
During the Mass, the statue's custodian talked about the history and the Fatima message, which emphasizes central truths and devotion of the Catholic faith, the Blessed Trinity, the Eucharist, penance, the Rosary, and sacrifices for the conversion of sinners.
And you can read more on these and other stories at iobserve.org, where you can find articles from our Catholic communication staff as well as on-demand episodes of Real to Real. That's iobserve.org. I'm Dan Dumas, and those were Real to Real news briefs.
You are watching Real to Real, your window on the world around you. Here again is your Real to Real host, Sharon Rulier.
Last year, we brought you the story of a community garden that Father Brian McGrath planned out with a neighbor of his parish, St. Mary's in Lee. This year, the garden not only expanded, but it got upgrades and served even more people. Nick Morganelli shares now the bountiful harvest.
Meet Carrie Fleischer. Recently moving from city to countryside, he found the serenity he was seeking, and it was because of a post asking for help through the social media app Nextdoor.
And it's kind of funny because in the city next door, you get a lot of like, I saw someone suspicious walking down the street, you know? But out here, it's more like, you know, I've got some chickens. Does anyone want them? Or, you know, I mean, I'm generalizing, but it is different, you know? So this one was, can anyone help with this community garden?
And now he's part of the Lee Community Garden volunteer team.
It's been really nice to get back into gardening and learn about how it's done here and what you can do, because I got my own yard that I want to start working on. And then also it's been really a nice way to meet people who are interested in this, and then see just townspeople, you know, who live at the different places we deliver to.
These are Asian red beans, which taste just like string beans. This is Swiss chard.
The bounty from this garden is used to bless others with healthy eating, from seniors to low-income residents and parishioners who can pick something from their new farm stand after Masses.
As we expanded, we talked to the residents of Hyde Place, and so we deliver food to Hyde Place once a week, as well as Crossway Tower once a week.
This is so beautiful. I want to take it all.
Well, here at the Lee Community Garden, they've made a lot of improvements since last summer, and they have a second garden less than a mile away.
The rectory, which is just up a hill from the garden, has an incredible roof with thousands of gallons of rainwater that come off it. It's literally gushes off through the downspouts. And so Father Brian came to me and my husband, who was saying, we need to think about an irrigation system.
And build one they did with these large avocado oil containers and some piping. Gravity does the rest.
It's a 1,000-gallon system. And so far we have the water coming right down to the pavement. Once the parking lot's repaved, we'll make sure that there's a tunnel underneath that pavement so we can get the water here to the garden.
Yes, exactly.
Another improvement is actually a second garden. Catherine brought us to the 50-unit Lee Housing Authority complex, their newest expansion project.
The residents were interested in gardening, so with the help of Greenagers, we had them put in 4 of those 4x8 gardens and plant them. And we have a group of residents that waters and weeds and harvests and takes care of that.
Greenagers is a not-for-profit located in Egremont, Mass., and they are a valuable resource.
They came and saw what we were doing here, and they agreed to be our fiscal sponsor.
And they can assist you with your home garden.
You can buy a 4x8 garden. They'll come set it up, fill it with soil, and plant it. You'll pay $600 for that. But they'll put a garden for free, the same exact garden for free at a low-income household. So they've done hundreds of these free gardens for people.
The residents here are ready to expand this garden next spring. They offered me some purple kale because no one cared for it. I couldn't resist. Enjoying the autumn harvest from Lee Community Gardens for Reel to Reel, I'm Nick Morganelli.
You gotta pick this one right here, that's ready. This big one.
Growing food for people and pollinators, such a great idea. And if you'd like to volunteer, donate, or start your own community garden, we have a link with more information at iobserve.org. Now, back in August, Father Gary Daly led a 10-day pilgrimage to Belgium and Germany, culminating in the performance of the world-famous Passion Play in Oberammergau. Last week's segment saw the pilgrims enjoying their first stop in Belgium, and this week we see the group make their way over the German border to the impressive and historic cities of Cologne and Heidelberg.
I figure it's probably appropriate that we pray the rosary together. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. We leave the beautiful country of Belgium and travel into Western Germany to Cologne, making the long bus journey to enjoy a nice dinner together, tasting the local German cuisine.
Thank you.
In the morning of our third day on pilgrimage, we travel to the city of Aachen. We begin with a walking tour of the city and taking in its history and beauty. Aachen is most noted for being the royal residence of the Emperor Charlemagne, who reigned in the early 9th century. And we're standing in the plaza where between his chapel and his palace. It served as the principal coronation site of 32 Holy Roman emperors and of German kings from the Middle Ages to the Reformation, the years between 936 and 1531. In 814, the Palatine Chapel here at the cathedral became Charlemagne's final resting place. We make a stop at Kornelimünster Abbey, a Benedictine monastery in Aachen, for Holy Mass. We are greeted there by the abbot, who gives us a brief history and welcomes our group. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. The body of Christ. Following Mass, we make our trek back to Cologne and stop at the famous Cologne Cathedral. It is dedicated to St. Peter and the Blessed Virgin Mary. It is the hallmark of this city. The cornerstone was laid in 1248, and it took 632 years to complete. The two massive spires dominate the skyline as they rise to the heavens at the height of 515 feet. The facade of the cathedral is the largest in the world. The area of the cathedral covers 86,000 square feet and can hold 20,000 people. While this structure is impressive and stands as the largest Gothic church in Northern Europe, what is more impressive is that it draws millions of visitors each year because it houses the remains of the three wise men brought to this cathedral in 1164 from Milan, which was conquered that same year. On day 4 of our pilgrimage, we make our way to visit the Schönstatt Pilgrimage Shrine dedicated to our Blessed Mother. This is a place of pilgrimage. Schönstatt translated means beautiful place. Today we come to a mountaintop experience in Schönstatt, here in Germany, to give honor to Our Lady and the movement that was established here in this place. We celebrate Mass, and He will be raised on the third day, the body of Christ. Light votive candles and pray for our intentions. as well as pray at the tomb of this movement's founder, Palatine Father Joseph Kentenich, who died in 1968 at the age of 83. This place was a minor seminary for young boys and then became the center of an international movement of moral and religious renewal. There are a number of Schoenstatt shrines and movements in the United States. We make our way to the Rhine River, where we board a boat and enjoy a relaxing cruise from Koblenz to Rudesheim, enjoying the beautiful scenery. So there's nothing like taking a little break from pilgrimage and doing a 3-hour river cruise on the Rhine River. Absolutely beautiful, a perfect day, and the views are spectacular, including this castle. After our cruise and a good night's rest, we make our way to Heidelberg. We take a tour of the Heidelberg Castle, which is said to be the most popular castle ruin in Germany. It sits on a hill overlooking historic Heidelberg, and what a spectacular view for miles. This castle dates back to the 13th century. It took on many renovations and suffered damage by lightning strikes, fires, attacks by enemies, particularly during the 30 Years' War, which destroyed much of the castle in the late 17th century. The palace was built and extended over 3 centuries in different styles, Gothic and Renaissance. One of the hallmarks of the castle is the wine barrel, which is the largest in the world. We walk into the historic part of town, enjoying the beautiful buildings and shops. After walking miles and touring Heidelberg and shopping, it's just great to be able to just sit down and enjoy a nice glass of water. We've taken a side trip from Heidelberg, Germany to Speyer to see this beautiful Cathedral of St. Mary of the Assumption, which is the largest Romanesque church in Christendom. Truly amazing, beautiful. This cathedral basilica has 4 towers and 2 domes. Was founded as a flat-ceiling basilica by Conrad II in 1030. It was rebuilt by Henry IV in 1077 as the first and largest consistently vaulted church building in Europe. The cathedral was the burial place of the German emperors for almost 300 years. Our memorable time in Heidelberg comes to an end, and we prepare for our trip to Bavaria. Join us next week as we make our way to the pinnacle of our pilgrimage, which is Oberammergau, the site of the famous Passion Play.
Our thanks to Father Gary and videographer-editor Bill Pacoscia for these reports. In 2 weeks, Father Gary will return with the unforgettable experience of the Passion Play in Oberammergau. You won't want to miss that. To view this and other past editions of Reel to Reel, along with the latest news on the Catholic Church, head over to iobserve.org. That's iobserve.org. And we are also on Facebook at Catholic Communications. Join us next week at this same time for an encore edition of Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday.
Reel to Reel is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.